Thanks for tuning in to You See Me, focusing on the battle of self-love, acceptance, abuse, spirituality, and much more. Your host, Tina Wynn, will be sharing various ways and strategies that she used to overcome grief, addiction, and depression. You See Me is a self-expressed term Tina uses as a way of making people see the real you. For people to see you, you must first see yourself.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the You See Me podcast. I am your host, Tina Wynn, with my ego, Quita, inside. You can find us right here on the We Empower Network and on all my other social media platforms, Saturday at 4 p.m. I hope you guys have been enjoying seeing me, enjoying seeing yourselves, and enjoying seeing others. So, guys, last week we ended talking about living in your truth. And for some of us, that's not always the easiest thing to accomplish, because for some of us, living in our truth requires letting go of certain people, letting go of certain things that we may have felt was necessary to our existence. And it also means that we have to stop frequenting places that we once valued. Living in your truth is a sacrifice. It also means that the people in your life should be respecting the boundaries of your truth and walking in that direction as well. We don't want to get tripped up having people follow us that don't have the same mindset as us. As y'all know, fortunately for us, God did not make us or place us to be in this world alone. He made other people for us to be in this world with for a reason. So we have each other. What we choose to do with each other is something totally different, though. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show. And that one always tripped Quita up because Tina has a natural heart for others. And sometimes Tina gets caught up with living in her truth because of the sacrifice of letting go. Anyway, so as Tina went back to the thinking table and began to think, again, you guys know that's what Tina does. Well, if you know, you know. That is what Tina does. Tina likes to think, and all you guys should be thinking. That's what our brains are for. Thinking is what I do, guys. I started thinking about what my truth or truths in life really are. And let me tell y'all, some of the things that flashed through my mind were not so pretty. Remember, we have to fully rewind our tapes, guys. We cannot just stop on the parts that suit our needs. You got to go old school and get that tape cleaner out, clean your VCR first, make sure that your equipment is fully functionable and operative, and rewind that tape all the way, play that thing from the beginning. It made me look at me. It made me look past the career, past the empowerment, past the clothes and all the things that I doll and involve myself with daily, and really, really, really look at Tina, because this is a process, guys. Seeing yourself is a process, and every day that you invest in you and spend time to grow with you, you're going to learn more about yourself. And when I looked at me for a second time, I looked at me with the screw face. Then I had to ask myself, is my truth pleasing to God? Because if I screwed my face up at certain scenes, what picture's on God's face? Are my words, are my actions, are my thoughts or choices godly driven? Or am I out here just acting a random fool? Is God giving me the screw face? Because my life belongs to God, guys. And if the things I am doing are not pleasing to the one they are purpose for, then what is the point of doing them? See, back when Tina operated as Quita, we did things without purpose. Again, Quita didn't see herself. Quita didn't know herself. Quita did everything out of impulse. There was no thought. There was no good judgment being applied. Now that we are most of us should be well into seeing ourselves, because it's a process, but once you start this, you start seeing yourselves. We should be well into seeing ourselves. We should be applying knowledge, experience, and good judgment to all our decisions. And if y'all remember, that is the definition of what we will call being wise in our choices. Nobody voluntarily decides, well, at least I don't think Quita, didn't voluntarily decide that she was going to act without wisdom. She didn't know herself, so there was no wisdom to act on. Wisdom is something that is acquired, not required. When Quita was acting without wisdom, it wasn't because of lack of knowledge. It was lack of knowing how to use good judgment and lack of knowing when to use good judgment. See, a lot of us don't know the when and the how of where to place things in our lives, and that's why we all over the place. You got to know yourself, guys. Some folks are just simply okay with not knowing, though. Some folks don't know and they don't want to know. Remember, it's in the knowing that makes the difference. So I started to think over all the things in my life, especially the things that I'm currently doing, because those are the things that matter the most. The things that I've already done, I can't really do much about. I can change so that I don't do them again, but they already are done. And I asked myself again, Tina, are your choices effective and purposeful to you pleasing God? And my answer was not always. Then I had to ask myself, well, why not, Tina? Why not always? In that moment, guys, I became more aware that I needed to do some more inventory of me. There are still them hidden parts of Tina connected to Quita that creates walls in my attitude. And attitude, remember, we will always present people with our attitude first. And because I was feeling like I always needed to protect me from the world, I was creating invisible barriers against the world to keep them from being able to hurt me or pain me again. And it was being displayed in my attitude. My perception of the old me was causing outward aggression in areas of my life that weren't necessary to the benefit of the new me. Have to be careful not to do that. Where new me is headed, the attitude attached to Quita about Tina was hindering. It was hindering me, guys. And remember, the way we see ourselves will always be the way we deliver ourselves to people. It starts and it ends always with self. What you see is what you get with Tina. Self-awareness, guys. We have to be aware of who we are in our surroundings. I needed to know, why wasn't I acting godly at all times? Why not, Tina? Why was I allowing thoughts of old me to control new me? Why am I choosing to act out when I know how to act in? I know how to act in accordance. I know how to act in a godly way. So why am I not doing so? In that moment, I became more aware of who I was, guys. I'm not that angry, aggressive person I keep presenting in replace of what I'm really feeling. I'm seasoned. I'm disciplined. I know how to identify my feelings and label them and deal with them one at a time. I know how to be accountable for the things that I am doing. I have skills learned and acquired through daily reading of my Bible in scripture. Remember, wisdom is acquired, not required. And my Bible teaches me that all that I lost will be restored if I turn from my wicked ways. I don't have to sit and willow and wallow in my misery. Joy cometh in the morning. All things will work together for the greater good of them that love the Lord. So if my word teaches me that all the things that I am doing will work together for the greater good, why am I not doing things that are pleasing to me? Why am I doing things that are going to cause me to second guess myself? We got to be clear on who we are before we can present ourselves for anybody else to be clear on who we are. I cannot stress to you guys enough the importance of knowing who you are in this life. Because if you don't know who you are, we might as well stop expecting everyone else to know who we are. We have to see ourselves first. I know that I don't like confrontation, so why am I entertaining confrontations? Because everyone else is entertaining confrontations, Tina? Oh, is that because how Quita handled situations? You cannot handle situations the way Quita did, Tina, or you might as well turn right back into her. What is the purpose of you trying to live a God-driven life if every time you get into a situation that you feel you can't handle, you're going to allow Quita to show up and act out? Is arguing with people, Tina, beneficial to your purpose of pleasing God? No. Anything in your life that you cannot give a clear yes to needs to be eliminated. So I went back and started thinking again. Yep, that's what I do. I'm a thinker. Self-inventory time, Tina. See, because before I present anything to anyone, I take inventory of me first. I don't give people anything that I don't want given to me. So I presented it to myself. Tina, what in your life has a no that needs to go? Remember, no equal go. Remember that. If it's a no, it must go. If it doesn't have your clear yes, then clearly it's not for you. And if you are making decisions and you are not certain and not sure, you can't expect people to respect anything it is that you're presenting to them and you're not even sure within you. Lots of times, see, I hold myself accountable for who I allow Quita to be and the choices I made surrounding her. But it was still my choice. And most of the time, when I was acting out as Quita, it was a choice made by me. We have to be accountable for the choices we make, guys. And a lot of times we make choices and then we don't want to take account of the choices that we was making. When I choose to let Quita act out, it was my way of getting even with all the people who hurt me. It was my way of getting even with all the people who betrayed me, all the people who let me down, and so on and so forth. So I made a choice to act out. I made a choice to allow Quita to run my life, and I made a choice to hurt me. And then let me tell y'all what I did. Tina had to go sit back down at the choice table and choose me. I had to choose me. I had to make me a part of those choices. When I think of the promises that God has for me, because there's a whole lot of them, guys, and how I was treating myself, it didn't match. It does not align with how God sees me. It doesn't align for the way God wanted me to be living my life. So I can't be living a God-driven, purposeful life for him if the things that I'm doing is not in alignment with the things that he wants. He wants good out of me, not bad. Because God does not want us beating ourselves up for the mistakes we made in life, but to gain experience and gain knowledge from them so that we can use good judgment and be wise in our decision making. So are you making wise choices? Are you being wise in your decisions? And I know you guys hear me talk a lot about choices. I talk a lot about choices, guys. And that's because Tina believes our lives are the direct result of one man's choice.
Hey, 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 how you guys doing? This is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner at Empower Mornings. Join me every Monday at noon to work out with Regina on One Network.
The direct result, one man named God, he was at his thinking table one day. And he decided that he was going to create life, and life began. That's it. And that's all. It was that simple. It was the direct result of one man's choice. He made the choice of what he was going to put in this world, how he was going to label it, and so forth. So if it's fair to say one choice that God made led to this entire experience of life. Because that's what it is, guys. It is an experience. We are spirits living in the flesh, experiencing what God will call life. So I continue to think, Tina, are your choices effective? Are they effective? Do they have purpose to them, or are you just out here randomly making choices? Is there meaning behind the things that you do? Do they serve anyone other than you? See, because Quita's choices only served Quita. Tina lives a selfless life. Now, my choices don't only serve me, so I cannot make choices based off of feeling or emotion. And I thought a little bit more, Tina, what effect does the choices you make leave in this world or on the people in this world? And I want y'all to ask yourself that. What effect does my choices leave on people? Are they leaving a good impact, or are they leaving a negative impact on people? Are people positively affected by my choices, or are people negatively affected by my choices? Because sometimes our choices can leave impacts on more lives than we ever intended them to. Most often, we make choices thinking that it's what's best for us, but no. But do we stop to think of the people involved or the people who will become involved? See, when God created this world, he stopped to think about everybody. He knew our stories well before we ever got to him, came to him and hit our knees, present. So any and everything that you think that you about to present God with, that you may be telling yourself is too much, he already knew. See, guys, when I was younger, I experienced a multitude of childhood traumas, which caused a brokenness inside of Tina. And that's how Quita came about, because Tina was so broken and didn't want to see herself that she had to create something in order for her to deal. So I created Quita. I never knew, though, that I was broken. To me, everything seemed completely fine. Everybody that I surrounded myself with made it okay for me. I was hurting. The people I got involved with was hurting. I was lonely. I dealt with lonely people. I was abused and violated, and the story goes on. So I surrounded myself with what I saw and what I felt. Remember, surroundings, guys. We have to be very careful. People, places, and things. What are we surrounded by? And then we got to go a step further and examine the mindsets of the people that we surround ourselves with. Because a lot of times you could be thinking one thing, and then the people you surround yourself with can influence your thoughts. You got to know you. Are you easily influenced? What are we thinking, and what are we allowing ourselves to think? If the only thing that we can see in life is hurt and pain, then that's all we will be able to produce. That's all we're going to think. And when there isn't pain or hurt present, we begin to create a world of hurt and pain for ourselves and for anyone that comes in contact with us. Did we choose for life to hurt us? No, not directly. Some things in life is just out of our control. We cannot control them. But we do choose the people and the things in life that we let continue to hurt and pain us. We choose these people and these places and these things. And I know I was choosing to allow things to control me. As I did inventory and as I start asking myself, if is my choices meaningful, I knew I was doing things and I was choosing things that I was allowing to control me that I had no control over. And I had to let that go. There was no way that I could live a life that was pleasing to God, still trying to hold on to the things that tore my life apart in the first place. It just wasn't possible. We cannot do both. It can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to make a definitive choice. And when God created this world, he did so with one thing in mind. His decision was clear, and that was for us to have life. What happens in this life is based off of our choices. He gave us the freedom of choice, and a lot of us, we're not clear in our choice. How can we effectively make good choices if all our choices are made based off of all the negative things that we see? If 1 minute our foot is here, next minute our foot is there. If we are not clear, our choices are not going to be clear. It is almost impossible to make choices that are pleasing to God if you are hurt or feeling pain inside, because 9 out of 10, your choices will be made based off of that hurt and pain. It'll be based off of that hurt and pain. I was putting myself in situations, guys, where everything in my life was being created as a result of that childhood trauma. And the one thing that I can tell y'all about childhood trauma, when all your thoughts are centered around a particular situation or circumstance in your mind, that will be the foundation of what is produced from you. Everything that you think, everything that you do, everything that you say will be based and centered around that one thought. Because our thoughts control everything about us. Everything that we do and say in life starts with a thought first. And if that trauma is not properly healed from, it will affect every other area of your life as well. Healing is a choice, people. We can choose to heal or we could choose to sit and suffer in our misery. And most of us are choosing to sit in our suffering and then blame life for us doing so when it's our choice. We have to be more mindful of the choices we make, because a lot of our choices, they don't just affect us. They leave ripple effects in the lives of everyone we come in contact with. I can't make a selfish choice to just say, I have a child, I have a soon-to-be husband. Like I said, I have a career. I have people who depend on me and who are requiring me to be there for them. And I cannot live my life selfish. It's not pleasing to God. It's only pleasing to me. It won't please God. And if your choices are bad for you, how can they produce good for anyone or anything? We should be making choices that will create a distinct identity for ourselves. Ask yourself what identifies me from anyone else. What makes you different? What is it about your character that makes you different from the person next to you? Or are you the same? Because we all flesh and spirit. We all flesh and spirit. And in God's eyes, it's all the same. It is only our soul and the choices we choose to set forth that identifies us in this world. Not how we look on the surface. When it comes to God, he's easily identified by his glorious works and by being a legendary father of this earth. He is known by his son, Jesus Christ. And when talking about God, we can easily identify him as being the ruler of the earth. There's no mistake when it comes to God. He can't be mistaken with the man next to him. He's easily identifiable. So when I turned the question back to me for a final spin, I realized, Tina, your choices can be pleasing to God at all times if they are a direct result of what's in your heart. See, Quita is not in your heart, Tina. She is attached to your emotions. So stop making a choice to let her control your emotions. Guys, we cannot allow our flesh to force us to live an emotionally driven life. It is our spirits that will live on, not our flesh. And as long as you keep all your thoughts, Tina, actions, and words centered around what's in your heart, which is God, the mind and body will follow. So, Tina, if your heart and mind is living, breathing, and purposed to serve God, why are you entertaining thought of your choices not being pleasing to God? Make them pleasing to God because it's your choice. We must know ourselves enough to not allow negative, abusive, or aggressive thoughts of ourselves to cause self-sabotage. Tina, your attitude is self-sabotaging you. The thoughts you are thinking is self-sabotage and it's not pleasing to God. So I had to learn to think better thoughts. God created this world and gave it life for us to have freedom of choice to live or die. And I was choosing to put myself to death with negative thoughts of me. I was choosing death with negative thoughts, which led to outward negative behaviors in my attitude. Then I had to think, Tina, if we didn't have spirits out here going against one another, this world would be boring. You got to have good and evil for it to make sense. And good has been a factor of evil since the beginning of time. So which one are you going to choose to feed? Because that war was already won. The same reason the devil was cast out of heaven is the same reason folk running around acting devilish, because there has to be a balance for it to make sense. But you don't have to choose to feed the negative side of that balance. So if you are not happy with the choices you're making, stop making them. If you can't own them with certainty, then you know that you shouldn't be making them and they need to stop. I want everyone to ask yourselves, are my choices pleasing to God? Am I living out my purpose or just passing through life? Am I walking in my truth? And is my truth pretty? I want y'all to think on those thoughts as y'all transition through y'all week. Ask yourself, is the things I'm doing have a purpose for the reason that I'm doing them? Because if the things that you're doing is not serving a good purpose or the purpose of you doing them, then why are you doing them? I want you guys to go out and see yourself. Seeing yourself should not be something that depresses you. It should not be something that gets you down. Seeing yourself should be something that you want to do. It is a choice. And we must start choosing us. If you don't choose you, who will? It starts and ends with self. People will choose you, but is it the people that you want to choose you? Or do you even know what you want because you don't even know you? We got to get to know ourselves. Go out this week, transition through this week, asking yourselves, are my choices pleasing to God? Go out, see each other, embrace seeing each other, embrace seeing yourself. And most importantly, come back and see me. Thank you guys for joining me. It's been fun. Until next time.